We tend to think of scientific discovery as happening in completely separate worlds. On one end, astronomers stare into the deep void of space, while on the other, biologists peer into microscopes. But physical reality operates as a single, continuous mechanical system. From the widest galaxy clusters down to the smallest proteins, inside your body, the same laws of physics govern every interaction. To understand our place in that system, we have to look at the extremes. Today, we start at the most violent edges of the cosmos and descend directly into the microscopic cellular engines that dictate how we age. Tracking these phenomena across vastly different scales allows us to connect the distant physics of deep space to the intimate reality of our own lives. Measuring the macro scale of the universe requires the James Webb Space Telescope, a tool capable of capturing light from the very edge of the observable void. Pointing its sensors at an exoplanet called 55 Cancri e, researchers found an environment where the heat is so intense that the planet's surface rock boils into a vaporized lava atmosphere. Further out, astronomers observed the aftermath of a planetary cannibalism event, where a sun-like star completely engulfed one of its own orbiting worlds. We know this happened because of the specific chemical footprint recorded by the telescope. This spectrograph shows a massive anomalous spike in lithium, an element that stars usually burn through very quickly. Finding this concentration in the star's outer layers reveals the undigested chemical remains of the destroyed world. Even light years away, total physical destruction leaves a readable, quantifiable trace if we have the right instruments to detect it. On Earth, we find similar forensic records buried in the geological layers of Queensland, Australia. Paleontologists excavating this terrain recently unearthed a fossil belonging to an entirely unknown species of ancient marsupial. By dating the surrounding sediment, researchers determined this creature survived for 35 million years, adapting through multiple major shifts in the continent's climate. This single skeleton is forcing scientists to restructure the timeline of Australian mammalian evolution, showing a much higher degree of biological resilience than previous models suggested. Just as we map the chemical remnants of stars, we must rely on these biological records to piece together the truth of our planet's past. Scaling down to the microscopic, these same principles of observation are unlocking the progression of Alzheimer's disease inside the human brain. Researchers have successfully mapped how toxic tau protein spreads between brain cells. A specific carrier molecule grabs the tau from a decaying neuron and is physically moving it to healthy ones. Identifying this pathway provides medicine with a concrete target. If we intercept the carrier in transit, we can potentially halt the spread of the disease. Observation at this scale also reveals how our daily habits trigger protective mechanisms inside our bodies, even something as simple as drinking coffee. A specific compound in coffee fits into a receptor on the surface of your cells. This interaction locks into place and triggers a protective response across the cellular membrane. Once activated, this receptor defends the cell against the cumulative wear and tear that leads to aging and disease. By looking at the nanoscale, we can see exactly how these everyday compounds work to preserve our health over time. When we pull back from those microscopic cell receptors and look across the entire scale of discovery, the connections become clear. The lithium spike marking a destroyed planet and the transport molecule carrying toxic tau proteins are both readable footprints, evidence of change that we can measure and understand. Whether we are tracking the evolution of a continent or the decay of a neuron, the universe reveals its secrets through these quantifiable patterns. Continuously observing these extremes allows us to build a high-resolution map of the world around us. By understanding these mechanics, we move from merely observing change to anticipating it. We'll be back next week with more discoveries.